Once anointed future face of the Angels, Logan O'Hoppe reflects on an unceremonious end. Once anointed the future face of the Los Angels franchise, Logan O'Hoppe was pulled aside shortly before first pitch on July 29 and told he'd been traded to the Texas Rangers. Not long after that, he received a call from Chris Young, the Rangers' top baseball executive. The 26-year-old was told he'd been optioned to Triple-A Advertisement For O'Hoppe, who had, at one point, been viewed as one of the game's top young catchers. It wasn't a shock.
Fruit flies taking over your kitchen? This discreet plug-in trap uses light to attract flying insects, then captures them on a replaceable adhesive cartridge, without noisy zapping or messy sprays. Want to get the best verified deal and see full details? Visit grabdeal.us/one right now.
As he said, the writing's been on the wall for a couple weeks. And in his words, it wasn't a disappointment either. He'd been worried about getting sent down with the Angels. But with the Rangers, a team he feels has a plan, it was a welcome development. "I view it a little differently with being in a different organization," O'Hoppe told The Athletic in a phone interview Tuesday. "I feel like now, it's the start of something good. I feel like there's a plan in place. Now I can get to work on that and get going. With the Angels, I was nervous to get sent down because I didn't really know what the end goal looked like. I was very unsure about a lot." O'Hoppe came up to much fanfare with the Angels. Traded from the Philadelphia Phillies for Brandon Marsh at the 2022 deadline, O'Hoppe was called up 2 months later and instantly viewed as the core building block of the Angels' future. In 2024, then-Angels outfielder Taylor Ward called O'Hoppe the team's captain, as he succeeded on the field and off it as a leader. But O'Hoppe statistically fell off a cliff his last 2 seasons. After belting his 14th home run in the 43rd game of 2025, O'Hoppe hit a total of 9 home runs over his last 151 games played. His defensive metrics at catcher, once rated as above average, now rank as the worst in baseball. Baseball Savant estimates that his defense cost the Angels 14 runs this season. It's inexplicable, even to O'Hoppe himself. It resulted in the catcher and reliever Chase Silseth being flipped for an unheralded 19-year-old lotto ticket prospect. An unceremonious end, but perhaps a necessary break for both the team and player. "I said my whole life I wanted to play in the big leagues, and I did that," O'Hoppe said. "I experienced what it was like to lose in the big leagues. I feel like that totally reframed my mind. Advertisement, playing in the big leagues isn't everything anymore. It's winning at that level, and that's what I want to do. I saw some examples of how not to get it done. I tried and failed to turn it around in Anaheim, Calif. I view myself as a winning person and someone that brings a lot to the table and does things the right way." In his 4 years with the Angels, there were 4 managers, 5 catching coaches, and numerous pitching coaches who worked directly with catchers. There were a lot of voices, a lot of iterations of Angels baseball packed into a small window. "I'd be lying to you if I said that didn't make it difficult," said O'Hoppe, who wanted to be clear that he wasn't trying to offer any excuses for his own on-field failures. "It does get to a point where it's a lot. It made it difficult to trust the process." The Rangers are excited about O'Hoppe and view him as a core part of their catching future. Texas invited him to Arlington on Monday's off day after he played his first 2 games in Round Rock. The Rangers sat him down and went over areas for improvement, leaving O'Hoppe with the impression that the club views him as more than a throw-in on a relatively smaller trade. "We have a real plan to get him back to, again, where we think he can be," Rangers manager Skip Shoemaker said. "The kid hits the ball as hard as anybody. There's a lot of things that we like about him." O'Hoppe said he has no ill will toward Angels interim general manager John Mozeliak, who shipped him off and offered honest comments about O'Hoppe's struggles both offensively and defensively. "I appreciate him giving me this opportunity somewhere else," O'Hoppe said. "Advertisement, I can sleep at night knowing that I did everything I could, even until the end," he added. "It was really frustrating when it wasn't working and wasn't clicking. I really did try to be one of those guys, because no one can do it alone." Even if the underlying sentiment was a disdain for the on-field losing, O'Hoppe still appreciated the people he met with the Angels, building a relationship with the fanbase, the community, and his teammates. "Ben, Joyce is never getting rid of me," Hoppe joked. Before the interview ended, it was noted to O'Hoppe that the Rangers travel to Anaheim this coming Monday for a 4-game series. He's not on the team, of course, and Round Rock will be prepping for a home series against Sugar Land. But AAA is never far away from the show. And there's always a chance that a mixture of luck and circumstance could have him returning to his first big league home sooner rather than later. So, he was asked, had he peeked at the schedule and allowed himself to even think about it? Said O'Hoppe Riley, with words that didn't fully match the knowing tone behind them, "I don't know what you're talking about.